There's a new war in America, the humane versus the inhumane. The humane are those who see borders as obstacles, who believe the homeless should get free pot, who think gender pronouns are evil, who see business as oppression. The inhumane are the rest of us, who want to deport babies, bully the indigent, let the sick die because we hate Obamacare. We are racist, probably homophobic, but underneath it all, we're just inhumane. Led by a White House that sees all through the prism of politics, our border is now the ball in a game between the humane and the inhumane. I smell a montage.
We have to acknowledge this as the humanitarian challenge, which it is, and make sure that the United States will receive these children in a humane way.
The President has asked for additional resources from Congress to open up detention facilities across the country where these individuals can be housed in humane conditions.
I'm also focused myself on giving the administration the resources they need to protect these children and to treat them humanely.
We stand ready to support efforts to treat little children in a humane way.
I'm so inhumane. I remember when the left, right, and center could share one thing, a border. It created identity. It made us Americans, especially to those beyond our fences. Remove that and what are we? The debate over citizenship is the debate over survival. And anyone fleeing from persecution knows this. Humane masks policies often that are anything but. In Berkeley, it's free pot for the homeless. Do you think that makes them less homeless? Do you think pot improves their lot? I'd say not. But look at the border. The humane has gone insane. Buildings full of blank faces, some pawns, others cons, on a quest of separation and sadness. And those who see this horror and want answers are inhumane. Hardly. We have just seen history, and it's full of those who, in the name of the humane, leave them weeping in their wake. So, isn't it more humane to use these children as pawns, Kimberly?
Oh,
I mean,
you know, it's just, I don't know, I just still find so much politics coming into this, right? But when you see criticism that is really fairly accurate and reasonable coming from both sides, you know you have a serious problem on your hands. I would like nothing better than the president to rise to the occasion and do something about this. Something lasting, instead of always looking back to say, this is why I'm having problems now because of the guy before me. That's not leadership. Take ownership of it. You were elected twice. The liberals always say they want to control every aspect of your life from birth to death and tell you exactly how to do it because they know best. Well, if you do, President Obama, tell us how we can solve this problem and do something about it.
Bob, there are a lot of people that are really worried, and so when they're on camera, they're angry, and their cameras are in their faces, and they look angry. Are they inhumane for being concerned about gangs or illness?
No, here's the problem with this whole discussion is that I don't believe that Republicans are inhumane. I think a lot of them are very humane. And I don't believe that all Democrats are as you described them, or liberals. But I recognize that you paint a broad brush. But the fact is that there are 11 million illegal immigrants in this country. There are 60,000 kids down there. It is a much bigger problem. And I think if Democrats and Republicans could get together, they could get a bill. If they'd simply sit down and talk to each other. But politics has played a role. Obama's politicized it, and the Republicans have politicized it. But we're not all inhumane or humane. I think you guys are humane people. I don't think you want to see, and I certainly don't want to say that I want to see a socialist country. I don't. But I certainly do believe these kids should not be sent back, and I think there are small percentages of the bigger problem.
Is it part of the problem, though, Eric, that everything is a team sport now? I mean, everybody picks a side. Before we used to, it's okay to do that, but when it's your border, you kind of go, that's off limits. I don't know.
So you ran a bunch of sound bites of Democrats, only Democrats using the word humane because they're trying to garner sympathy for the cause.
Yeah.
I mean, very specific and very concise about this. How humane is abortion? You don't hear a Democrat say, apply the word humane, to the abortion cause. Because if they did, it would blow their theory out of the water.
I think some of those people really do believe, I don't think it was all set up in a message program. I think some of those people really believe it is a humanitarian problem.
I think so too.
But it is a humanitarian problem, but it just happens not to be our humanitarian problem.
Well, it is not because they're here.
It shouldn't be.
And also there are different ways to handle a humanitarian problem other than saying that those who disagree with you aren't humane. To me, in my mind, the most humane thing in the world, in the history of the world, has been the United States. We have done more to help the world than anybody. Why can't we export our values to places where there are problems rather than the problems forcing people to come here.
Yeah, and the reason that they use the term humane is exactly what you said, because then it has the benefit of implying that anyone who doesn't agree with them is inhumane, which, Bob, you even agree, the Republicans that don't support this bill, no matter where the funding is going, are inhumane. I think Juan earlier in the week said, why are you attacking kids? By the way, you're very humane today. I'm all for you having dates in the afternoon before the show. For the record, that's why Bob's
It was very helpful.
That's very relaxed.
Very humane,
No,
in
I just
other words,
got to
relaxed.
be careful about painting these broad strokes. Let's let Greg do it. That's what he does. And then let me. No, you do it, but you do it well. Look, you do it well. It's part of what you do.
Let me just
But you do that to the right.
Don't you think it's inhumane, though, to keep these kids
away from their parents, to keep these children and these young girls at risk of being raped? Do you think these conditions are humane at all, or do you think it's humane to let veterans die, or for Americans to die in Benghazi? Is that humane?
No, look, I don't believe any of this is humane, and the VA and has. But the parents sent these children up here, and the Mexicans allowed them to come through.
These conditions are anything but humane.
I understand.
And you've got gang members now, like we talked about MS-13 coming in and recruiting. Now we've provided them with open recruitment.
Which is why we need money to be able to take care of
I know,
them.
but it's not, okay. It's always money is the answer for liberals, and the stingy ones are Republicans, they're inhumane, they got gator arms, but that's not the situation.
If you're not gonna get them all out at one time, and they can't live in conditions like this, so you need funding.
Awful for these children. Awful. It is awful for the children.
But Kimberly, you mentioned these gangs, and I think it's inhumane to call them a gang. I think it's cruel. Maybe call them a troop or a cooperative.
Okay.
Or a merry band of fellows seeking adventure.
With green tattoos?
Yeah, they're tattooed. Don't call that, or ink.
They're Boy Scout troops.
They're Boy Scout troops, exactly.
I'm so sorry
Yes,
for being
but to
so
call them gangs
insensitive.
is just
It's my
very
LA prosecutor days.
It's just so
It's hardened me. It's hardened me.
All right,
Please ban me.
Nancy, I would never ban you. All right, Nancy Pelosi thinks 5 men on the Supreme Court should make decisions about women's birth control.